Imagine a city 170 kilometers long, taller than the Eiffel Tower, car-free, powered by 100% renewable energy, and designed so that every resident can reach what they need in just 5 minutes. No cars, no pollution, a city designed like a line through the desert. This is the line, Saudi Arabia's megacity of the future, part of the colossal NEOM project. But is this fantasy really becoming reality, or is it slipping into science fiction? Today we're unpacking what the line actually is, what's been built so far, the real progress in 2025, major challenges and setbacks, and whether it will ever be finished. Let's dive in. The line was unveiled by Saudi Arabia in 2021 as the centerpiece of NEOM, a new mega region in northwest Saudi Arabia, part of Vision 2030. What was the goal? To shift the nation away from oil reliance by creating futuristic hubs for innovation, tourism, and industry. At full scale, the line was pitched as being 170 kilometers long, 500 meters tall, and 200 meters wide, with mirrored facades. It would house up to 9 million people and be powered entirely by renewable energy. There would be no roads or traditional cars, and a high-speed transit system would connect end-to-end in about 20 minutes. All this, according to the official early descriptions and claims. It was an incredibly bold vision. When the line was announced, the world took notice. Partly because it looked like a concept directly out of Blade Runner, Snow Crash, or The Jetsons. It promised zero emissions, dense urban living, high-speed mass transit, and walkable neighborhoods everywhere. No cars, a reduced footprint, and tech-driven living. It was marketed as a blueprint for the future of cities, one that could solve problems like climate change, traffic, and urban sprawl. It was more than just a new city. It was positioned as a revolution in urban planning, an answer to the inefficiencies and environmental damage of our modern metropolises. The sheer audacity of the project captured global imagination and media headlines. But fast forward to 2025, and the story is very different. The line is not yet a 170-kilometer skyscraper city. In fact, only a small segment, roughly 1 to 4 kilometers, has been actively developed on the ground so far. Focused on early modules and foundations, key updates show that foundations, trenches, and earthworks dominate most sites, with cranes, piles, and site infrastructure visible in satellite imagery. NEOM has built on-site concrete facilities to produce over 20,000 cubic meters of green concrete daily to serve the line's construction. However, only a handful of modules and structural works have actually begun. The rest is still just groundwork. So even if vertical construction is starting, the original vision hasn't materialized yet and won't for many years. But remember, NEOM isn't just the line. Other major components of the project are actively advancing. Oxagon, an industrial port city with advanced infrastructure, is seeing its construction progress with new phases already underway. Then there's Sindala, a luxury resort island that's already welcoming visitors and was scheduled to open in 2024. And let's not forget Trojena, a mountain destination slated to host the 2029 Asian Winter Games. So, while the line captures the imagination and the headlines, the broader NEOM region is moving forward across multiple fronts. These other projects show that development in the region is very real, even if the progress on the line itself is slower than initially hyped. Of course, big dreams are meeting huge realities. Recent reports indicate some major scale-backs. It's now believed that only about 2.4 kilometers of the line is realistically expected by 2030, instead of the full 170 kilometers. The initial population targets of 1.5 million by 2030 might also be trimmed to around 300,000 at most in the early phases. And the long-term completion may stretch decades, possibly into the 2070s or beyond. Far later than the original 2045 goals, budgets have also ballooned, with some analyses suggesting costs vastly higher than initial projections, as much as trillions when all is said and done. Countries around the world have seen large megaprojects delayed or scaled back. But the line's gap between ambition and reality is especially stark. So why are these setbacks happening? First, there's the engineering complexity. Building a continuous 500-meter-tall mirrored structure over desert soil is completely unprecedented. Then there's funding pressure. Saudi Arabia's economy still relies heavily on oil revenues and fluctuating markets, which can affect the cash flow for such a massive undertaking. We also see investor hesitation. many global investors have been cautious about committing to such a risky, long-term proposition. Finally, there are the logistics and materials. The massive demand for steel, concrete, and advanced transit systems stretches global supply chains to their limits. In other words, the technology might exist in fragments, but integrating everything at this enormous scale remains a monumental challenge. So, is the line doomed, or is it still possible? There's no simple answer. On one hand, the idea of the line has not been canceled. Construction continues, contracts are being awarded, and big partners are involved in design and engineering. On the other hand, the timeline has definitely shifted. The initial scope has shrunk, costs have soared, and only limited segments have actually been built. This means the original grand vision is extremely unlikely to be finished as marketed by 2045. Yet a scaled, modular version could still emerge over the coming decades. It may not be the 170-kilometer marvel we were promised, but a shorter, more focused version could still be a reality. So what does the line really represent? It's a bold experiment, part futuristic dream, part national branding, and part urban research lab. Whether it becomes a functioning city of millions or a shorter pilot project that demonstrates new ways of planning and living, it has already sparked a global discussion about the future of our cities. Whether you think it will redefine urban life or become a case study in ambition outpacing execution. One thing is clear, NEOM and the line have changed the conversation about what's possible. I hope you found this review and update on the line interesting and enlightening. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into past, current, and future events in our world. Thanks for watching.